Work is broken. So is the way you think about it. Host Lori Rudiman is breaking things down so you can put them back together and make work something you can enjoy. Let's fix work together. With the Let's Fix Work podcast, here's Lori.
Hey everybody, welcome to Let's Fix Work. I'm your host, Lori Rudiman. Have you ever heard the phrase, be the change? Yeah, of course you've heard that phrase. Everybody uses that phrase. And by the way, nobody gives credit to Gandhi. And I'm not actually sure that Gandhi said it first, but one of my friends, Amanda Hite, says it all the time, and she actually tries to live it. Amanda Hite is a dreamer, a doer, and an entrepreneur. She started a company called BTC Revolutions, which is a social media strategy company, but she started it in 2008 at the beginning of the recession with $64 in her pocket. Amanda is focused on social activism, being the change in community, and she's also focused on being your authentic self at work. And Amanda is working hard to fix work. So I hope you enjoy my conversation with Amanda as much as I did, and I'll see you at the end to wrap things up. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Let's Fix Work. I'm Lori Rudiman, and I'm here today with one of the good ones out there, just an amazing human being, a dear friend, and someone I've known for going on a decade, my friend Amanda Hite. Hi, Amanda. How are you?
I'm so wonderful, and I'm so happy to be here.
It's really just an honor to have you, honestly. I couldn't think of anybody else I want to talk to about making work better and making the world better. And I know you're passionate, and when I think about you, I think about the phrase, be the change. So we're going to talk about that today. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm so ready. Let's do it.
Yeah. So the first part of our conversation, I really want to talk about whether or not work sucks. Do you know if there are any great places to work anymore?
Well, I think the BTC life is pretty great at BTC, yes. But I think that you have a fair point, and there's probably a reason I'm an entrepreneur. And that I created, my own workplace. But what I found in doing that is it's a lot harder to create a great work environment than I think we think. Being in corporate America, I read a lot of books and kind of always had this imagination of the perfect workplace culture I would create, and it's tough. People are messy, but yeah, work sucks. But I do think there's some good businesses out there doing some good.
So what makes a really great place to work? I know it's not working in Silicon Valley and working in those pristine office environments that are like workbenches where they feed you food, because those people are miserable. So what makes a great place to work? What are you focused on at your own organization?
I think a lot of times companies, we do a lot of corporate speak about culture, and I really think your everyday employee, they don't talk in terms, they don't think about things and it's a real focus on the business or the brand when you're talking about culture. So I think it's about what's their life like at work. So I like to focus on lifestyle and, what is there, people spend so much time at work. And so how do we make just that part of life better? And I think it's purpose. I think it's people that you're around, and making sure you're having fun, all of those good things. But I think we need to focus on more lifestyle components than corporate speak.
I love that focus on lifestyle, because the places where I've flourished and where I've had the best experience see me as a human being. They really think like, oh, Lori is busy. She's got stuff going on. Work isn't everything. Well, it's important to her. She has a family and she's got siblings and she has responsibilities and hobbies and interests. And the work environment is, it's multifaceted, and it sees me as more than just an HR lady or whatever I was, right, in my day job. And so I wonder if that's something that you strive to do, to see your employees as something more than sales professionals or marketing professionals or consultants. But once you see them as a human being, you see all their flaws. That's the other side. You see them as complex individuals with quirks, with hangups, and with issues as well, right?
Oh, yeah. But I genuinely believe that if you want to get like the best of someone's performance, you have to let them be exactly who they are. And, I know from growing up in the workplace during a time where I had a boss that told me, you can have this promotion as long as you don't talk to anybody about your lifestyle. Nobody knows about that, my being an LGBT person. And it's so hard to do good work when you just can't be yourself. And so I think one of the most important things is letting people be in an environment where they can be exactly who they are. They feel, and whether that's the opinions that they have, whether that's the life they live outside of work, and they feel like that's a part of it. It's important.
Yeah, I think you're right. Once you say to someone, be your whole self, though, you have to treat them like a human being. You have to have a different relationship with them. And that means coming to terms with people who have maybe depression or anxiety or complex family issues, not only different in air quotes type of people that they love, but also different lifestyles. Maybe they live with aging parents, or maybe they are in polyamorous relationships, right? You learn all sorts of stuff about people when you see them as human beings. So what's your work environment like? Like, who works for you right now? Like, you don't have to out their names, but what kind of people are working for you?
Oh, we have people from, all walks of life and all, it's interesting in a very politically divisive time. We have people from, all sides of that fence.
You have some Trump lovers. You can just say it.
Yes. Yes. And, even though I am very open about my opinions, I also make it a place where people feel safe to be the same with theirs. We also have, people with various kind of things that they're struggling with. So whether it's mental health problems or physical disabilities, and in those contexts, I think it's important to, be a support to those people during that process. I mean, you'll find, some of our folks openly blogging, online about some of the issues and working through. And I also see, I see that as a good thing. I see them forming community around those things and support. And as they're sharing their stories, other people are saying, hey, I'm going through that too. And this is helping me. And they're getting, so I don't know, HR legal wise, maybe sometimes we're to an extreme with what we allow people and how we allow them to express themselves. But it's something we're really committed to.
Yeah, you should be really proud of that. And I think for a majority of people, they don't necessarily feel like they can bring their whole selves to work. And so I wonder if you have any insight on why work sucks for so many people, and what are some of the major themes that you've seen out there?
One thing that I see happening is the world's changing really fast, and you have these different generations in the workplace, and you kind of have some old, like, traditional regimes in place. And then you have this new, younger audience of people coming in, and you have people that really worked hard to work themselves into the positions that they're in. And they see these younger folks moving in, and they're saying, they think they know it all. They think they know more than us, and actually they do know more than us. They've had information at their fingertips long before we did, and so I think there's some of those tensions in place, and I think it's really different expectations that people have that they bring to the workplace. And those are kind of clashing now. And so I think that's it. And then just some of the things we talked about, people being in environments where they don't feel like they can be themselves. I think this whole, like, quarterly profit model way of thinking about doing business really drives, especially in the United States. I mean, where capitalism rules everything. And so I think some of those priorities just make it tough to do that.
Yeah, those are really great insights. Well, I'm so glad you're here today, because we've talked about how the world of work is broken, and we can talk about work, but you can't talk about work without talking about politics. And I think it's important for people, because we are all political animals, whether or not we appreciate that or even admit it. But it's important for people to have some political fluency, some political literacy about them. And I wonder if you can help us start to think about politics and work a little bit, and tell us what you think is going right in politics right now, and what's going right in the world of work related to that.
So as you know, we're based out of DC, even though we have kind of people across the country. Our home office is based in DC, right across the street from the White House. So we're right in the middle of it all. Protest on lunch breaks, all that kind of stuff. That's what the BTC life is like a little bit in DC. But I think the question that you ask about what's going right is a really important question that we need to keep asking ourselves and making ourselves answer, because it feels a lot easier these days to identify what's wrong. I mean, there's chaos, there's corruption, there's division, all of these things that are going on. And but typically, for every trend, there's this counter trend that happens. And I think that with all the disturbing things that are happening and that we're exposed to, we're seeing some of these counter trends emerge. And so it's really forcing some of our systemic problems that when we're comfortable, we just kind of don't deal with. When we're a little too comfortable, we don't deal with. It's forcing them into the spotlight. And it's making, we have with media, social media today, we're just being exposed to so much more. You can't watch some of these things caught on video or hear some of these heartbreaking stories and not feel that outrage and not feel really uncomfortable. And so unfortunately, it's those times, often when things are really painful that really make us say, we've got to do something about it. You see this Me Too movement that's come to rise, and it's spread so fast and at such a scale that it's hit most workplaces, most industries. I don't know too many industries where that movement hasn't driven into. A couple of weeks ago, I was at the Women's Food Service Forum conference. And there was a speaker there, which is a huge industry, one of the biggest industries for employers. And there was a speaker there that got on stage and started reading the individual stories of servers and hostess harassment stories in detail. And it was very uncomfortable to listen to, but this is happening in the workplace. And, with that, we're strong call to actions and demands to fix what's going on. And I'm starting to feel this more zero tolerance culture. We put all of our staff through new training and made us evaluate our own culture and say what's happening here. And so I think, when really bad things are happening, it's also a chance to address those. Another thing I think is going right, and I mentioned this briefly with just talking about young people today, is if you look at the Parkland students. And I've been absolutely obsessed, a little crazy about what's happening with social media and how it's been weaponized. And it's just been a really ugly, terrible place. And you've had, kind of all the bad guys really understand how to manipulate these tools. So we've got disinformation spreading. We have these hyper partisan echo chambers. And but with all that, and it's been disturbing because the people that you think should be able to fix this really don't even have their arms around the problem. And so these Parkland students who were raised in social media, they understand how these things work. All of these kind of conspiracy, shady online media groups that have observed spreading this stuff, they're able to shut it down right away with their own viral content, standing up to just calling demands. And it's really shocked that system. And so it's given me some hope that, things are going to change, things are going to happen. And we need to empower kind of these young people more in these spots.
I love that. What scares me the most with these kids is that I see a bunch of adults jumping on the bandwagon and trying to co-opt this vibrancy, this youthful message of change, and almost codify it and make it into band assemblies and get the kids on the football field and let's all rah love and community and togetherness. But it's totally a sellout move. These parents, I sound weird, but these parents ruin everything. And I hope these kids continue to fight. And I hope they continue to just bug people, right? Because that's what's going to change. If adults swoop in and co-opt the message, it's going to ruin it completely.
The use case podcast is where technology vendors get to talk about themselves. And it's a wonderful place for vendors, investors, and practitioners to listen to the story of the solution, the features, the benefits, the attributes, etc. And we get to know the CEO or founder during the call, and we also get to know the tech. So subscribe to the Use Case Podcast.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. We need to let them lead more, and more of them. And that's another positive sign, is that more young people are getting more engaged in this stuff.
I hope so, because generations before them, my generation, Gen X, right? Millennials, and these are not millennials. These are definitely Gen Z kids, right? Millennials are older. These kids today are amazing and do not deserve any scorn. I'm so impressed by them. And we've let them down. We have let them down.
Oh, without question. Do you remember when we were these kids today?
I do. I was thinking about that.
We knew each other when we were considered these kids today. And
that's right. It's been forever. And it's kind of sad when you talked about the weaponization of social media. Remember the promise and the potential of platforms like Twitter and Facebook back in the day? Remember when we thought we can change the world with like a tweet?
Oh, I was one of the biggest advocates for this stuff. My life is a social media ROI case study, and I literally, I still am holding out hope that we can bring kind of the human and humane back to the internet. But it's definitely a massive, massive, massive problem.
Well, I know you believe in community as part of the solution. This is something that you talk about over and over again. Do you think we even have real community anymore? And I wonder how this whole social revolution has changed the concept of like community, association, fellowship, identity. So what are your thoughts about community and whether or not it's real, or is it fake like everything else on the internet?
Yeah. So I think, especially because we have known each other for like a decade. And I think about earlier days, the good old days on social media, and there was so much community, right? I mean, you had you got onto Twitter and you're following your chats and your talks in the little community there. There's just this like really positive feeling. And a lot of those habits, I've watched my own habits change too. I go to Twitter and what's the trending topics? What are the moments? I'm consuming like really, destructive news all day long and following that. And so I think that it's, in that context, it's easy to look at it and think we've lost this like sense of community. But I also still see that if you're an LGBT person of faith and you're in rural, the deep South somewhere, and you feel like nobody else is like me, social media is still providing a place for people to find people like them, find safe places to talk to people like them, and create community among that. I mean, it was really just a few years ago that I met my fiance, through Twitter, became aware of that. So I think there's still some beautiful things that can happen. And I think if you were someone who has an illness or a disability and you can't leave the house, right? It gives us a chance to still be connected with friends and people and find community. And so all of that is still there. I really do think it's this weaponization of social media that has just kind of polluted it. And it's one of the things that scares me the most about.
I hear that. And, I think about the weaponization every time I look at the design of my phone and the design of these apps. I mean, it's really designed to hook us, to grab our attention, to addict us to our devices. And it makes me worried that there aren't enough trusted institutions out there that have your best interest and my best interest at heart. Because so far what we've seen is that these big corporations have come in and taken over the social revolution and turned it into just another extension of consumerism. That scares the hell out of me. So when you think about what keeps you up at night, is it the weaponization of social media? Like what scares you the most?
I mean, beyond nuclear war.
You're right.
Yeah. Ironically, the internet technology and social media. So, ironically, the things that for so long now I've been advocating for, I still believe in its power to make great change. We've done a lot over the years, for charities and causes through social media. I've met some of the most amazing, beautiful people through social media. But it has, it's these terrorist, oppressive governments, kind of all the bad guys have figured this out. And unfortunately, they seem to have a more sophisticated understanding of the power of these tools, and these tools, not intentionally, right? To your point, they were kind of built, just kind of serve this model of consumer capitalism on that, but they're also they're built in a way where it's really easy to weaponize. It's really easy through social media to build these massive echo chambers and to spread disinformation, because falsehoods spread further than truth. And what does scare me the most is they're out of freaking control. I mean, they really are. The stuff that happened recently with Zuckerberg, you could tell, like, he says he's trying, but he doesn't have his arms around this. Like, no, this stuff is advancing at such a pace that I don't know that any of them really have their arms around it or any control. And it's really outrageous that the kind of a lot of the people in power don't really have the political will either to fix some of these things. And so I think that is what, because, you take us offline and you make us all live together in community and go through the good times, go through the hard times together, we'll sort it out. People deep down, we're good, right? Most of us deep down are good. Actually, the world is actually getting better. It's not getting worse. It seems like it's getting worse because we're addicted to this kind of like bad news. It's what we're exposed to all the time. It's clickbait stuff. And so we're seeing more of that, but we're actually, poverty is down.
Yes,
life expectancy is up.
But trust is down. Trust in
Absolutely.
public institutions is way down. So as we think about wrapping up this segment, I want to know, what does it take to earn back the trust of citizens, consumers, employees? Because someone like Zuckerberg has blown it. He continually blows it, right? The founder of Instagram blows it. The people who sold or accidentally leaked our credit card information at Target, they blew it. So what does it take to earn back the trust of the average American or even global citizens?
Yeah. I was Joni Doolin, our friend from TD and 2K.
Lovely woman. Let me interrupt and just say Joni is like one of my heroes.
She's extraordinary. She's quite the futurist too, right?
Yeah,
she's always like kind of called the shots way ahead of time. And one of the things recently at their global best practices event that she was talking about is she was presenting some statistics, and I can't remember exactly what they were, but it was shocking to me because it was saying that employees actually trust their business leaders more now than before, and it's because of this trust crisis that we're having with institutions and government. So they're kind of like, there's this rare opportunity that they're looking to their bosses, their leaders at work, to help lead and kind of guide them through. And so I think a lot of it is modeling and as leaders in organizations, as leaders in our communities, just leading through this stuff and showing examples of integrity and showing examples and building. You build trust by keeping commitments one day at a time. You make a commitment and you keep it. Showing it, we have to really lead, because I don't think that we can wait for these institutions to get fixed. But there's more of us than them.
Well said. I love the individual call to action and the focus on personal accountability and leadership. Amanda, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about how you can be the change. Yes, you listening in your car, driving to your crappy job, you are responsible for being the change. We'll be right back.
Hey, are you ready to podcast like a pro? Then you need a secret weapon, someone who can make it easy, where all you have to do is show up and be the host. At One Stone Creative, that's what we do. Everything. Yeah, everything. Imagine, every time you sit down to record, you know what your topic is. You want a script? We can do that too. Then you record it, drop it in a folder, and that's it. Our team will take it from there. Production, show notes, uploads, blog posts, social media assets, swipe copy, like I said, everything. Book a call with a podcast strategist today. Just go to onestonecreative.net/podcast. That's onestonecreative.net/podcast, and we'll take it from there.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Let's Fix Work. I'm Lori Rudiman, and I'm here with my dear friend, Amanda Hite. Amanda, you ready to talk about being the change?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, because it's daunting, even for the most privileged among us, including me. So, if you're just like an average Joe with a job and a family, and you're not really prone to taking risks, but you see things that need to be fixed in your community or your work environment, how can you take action? How can you be the change and have a positive impact on the social circumstances in your environment?
Yeah. And it's especially hard the harder your social circumstances are, right? And the burden of that is it's overwhelming for really all of us, but especially like the harder your circumstances are. But I think one of the things that I always do is, look for the helpers and find the people that are working to make change and see how you can plug in and be a part of that. So find safe communities, look for helpers, look for if you're in the situation yourself and it seems overwhelming because you're being affected by whatever's wrong, like personally. I think it's important to look for people that have been in your situation before and made it out. They've walked your path. Because I think to have the strength to make it through, you have to have hope. And a lot of times, when you can find a role model, you can find somebody that's been there, it gives you hope. And then finding the helpers and the communities that are working in this and find ways to help. We all have a unique way that we can serve and plug in. And so
I love it. It makes me think about our conversation around the promise and potential of social media. For everything that you've experienced, social media can connect you with someone who's had that same experience.
That's
and who's
right.
walked in that step. So that's really great insight. So what about the people who work in the freelance and gig economy? Because I know you come up and deal and coach and work with individuals who are paid hourly or paid by their projects and don't necessarily have the infrastructure or resources to go to. They don't have an HR department. They don't have coaches. They may not even have health insurance. So how can we give them some hope in this economy when more and more people are in this freelance economy, in this gig work, and have fewer and fewer resources? Any thoughts on that?
I don't know about you, but I don't know very many people that are hopeful about the world of work. And I'd like to change that. My name is Marcus Mossberger, and I started the Hope at Work podcast, where you'll find two things. Number one, really interesting guests. And number two, innovative ideas about the future of work. Check it out.
Have you ever wondered what really makes a generation tick? Who gets to pick the name? And why the slang keeps changing? Don't worry, I can help. My name's Dr. Megan Grace. On hashtag Gen Z, I share the voices and experiences of Generation Z, how they're different from other generations, what moves them, and why they do what they do. In each episode, we go beyond the buzzwords and the stereotypes to dive into real conversations and the insights that matter to making intergenerational collaboration a reality. You can catch hashtag Gen Z on the Work to Find podcast network and wherever you listen to podcasts.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of challenges and things that need to be fixed in the freelancer gig economy that you talk about. I also think that there's just our access to technology right now. I also think it does help us connect with more. I think there's a lot more innovation that's happening to solve some of these things. And it allows us to connect with various networks of people. I just look at things like the WeWork network. and everything that you get access through. So it's like, I do believe that there's innovations happening where it's joining together some of these people and providing solutions.
Can you tell us about the WeWork network? Like, what's that? Because I'm sure there are people listening who are like, what the heck is WeWork? Even though we know what it is. Yeah.
Oh, sure. Sorry. Yeah, it's really kind of a new model of co-working spaces. And so what we found, it's actually a space that we're in DC. And there's a lot of kind of startup organizations in there, individual freelancers that are in these offices, but there's also like big organizations that just happen to have a small team in that city, and they put them there or get big office space. But it's this collective network of people, and you can share resources. You can, you have this app where you can connect with other members, and you'll see on the discussion boards, hey, I'm having a technology problem with my computer. Could somebody come help me with this? Or does somebody know how to do this with this file? And somebody else in the network comes in. They offer different classes from the various, but it's just this really collaborative work environment. And there's a ton of various discounts, benefits, and things like that they offer that you wouldn't necessarily have just as an individual company on your own, but you're able to have access to.
Well, that makes sense. And you can find community and affinity with the people that you see on a daily basis, even though you don't have the same employer technically. Yeah. So that makes sense. Yeah.
It's kind of the best of, because you don't have as many disruptions as you do in kind of a big corporate environment, somebody coming in your office all the time. But if you want to be around people and have some human conversations, you could do that too.
Oh my God. The biggest disruption I have lately are my cats. And I'm surprised nobody's come to bug us because, Amanda, I'm a cat lover. So those are my coworkers, right? I have 3 of them right now. And I know you have some cat coworkers as well.
Oh my gosh. Like
I brought you to the dark side.
You did. I watched you for years, and all of a sudden, I adopted I call him my little puppy cat. He plays fetch, Prince. And I was really doing it to kind of make my fiance happy.
Of course. That's what a good spouse does.
Yeah. It was like, and I was like, yeah, I could do this. And I fell madly in love. I mean, I don't ever take much time off for work or just play hooky, but that first week I was worthless. I just stared at him and took so many pictures and loved on him. And then we got him a little brother, Toby. So I wish they would want to go to work, but they kind of like it here. They don't going anywhere outside of here.
Of course not. Of course not. Well, you bring up an interesting point around work-life balance and taking time off. And it's so important for us as individuals, as a society, to get away from work. I really believe that we need to turn it off. But it's harder and harder with technology. And, I think the more access to tech that we have, sometimes it dampens our ability to be creative and innovative. And we let our inner dreamer get beaten down by email and Slack notifications. So I wonder how you protect your inner optimist, your inner dreamer. What do you do for work-life balance?
Yeah, I mean, it's, the big part of that is just setting boundaries, right? Which is really hard for me anyways. But it's kind of it's kind of like a news cycle. Something's breaking, you can follow the roller coaster on Twitter and every little play-by-play that happens and get sucked into that drama. Or you could every morning get the New York Times daily briefing, right? And then they kind of wrap it all up for you, and then you can dig where you want. And I think it's really about scheduling in first. I do have to just unplug when I'm off, just completely be off and present wherever I am. And, not log on because it's addictive. It's really tough. But we have to take time off to just rejuvenate. And so I just say no. I mean, I just turn the ringer off, sometimes turn the phone off, and just be present wherever I am.
Well, you can do that as a business owner and an entrepreneur. I think about, people in the service industry who have to, are on call to go in and work shifts, or people who are in the gig economy and they leave their phone on just because they're always looking for the next opportunity. They're waiting for the phone to ring and they don't want to miss a call and miss an opportunity. And sometimes this on-demand, on-call lifestyle that we've created in this world is so toxic and so stressful. So beyond just turning the ringer off, do you have any tips or insights for people to really think about work-life balance or work-life boundaries a little bit differently, because turning the ringer off is great for me and it's great for you,
Yeah.
but it's not great for the person working retail.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or is it? Or are you,
Well, I mean,
you could challenge people and say, turn it off.
I would advocate that, like, you have to set boundaries with your own employer too. And if you're working for an employer that doesn't allow you to do that, I mean, and I know it's not as easy for people to change jobs as, and I don't want to pretend like it's just, hey, just go get another job. Like that's that easy. But I think that it's 2018. When you're going to work, your employer can let you know when you're expected to work, and outside of that should be your time. And I think that it's really, really important to, precious to protect that. So I think it's hard. I think a lot of us are really addicted to work. And even if it's just a afternoon, but those times you just have to protect that.
I think that's so well said. Thank you so much. We'll wrap this up by, I do want to share something with you, but we'll wrap this up with a question. But my philosophy around fixing work and fixing just the general society that we live in is evolving as I do this podcast. And I believe that if we want to fix work, we have to fix ourselves. That's where it starts. So I wonder at BTC Revolution, what are you doing to fix work?
It's interesting that you said if you want to fix work, you have to fix yourself. I remember when I was at the corporation that I was working for before I started my own company, I was working like 80 hours a week, and it was always their fault, right? It was this company's making me do this. And then all of a sudden I went to go work for myself, and I was still working crazy hours. And I was like, I can't like point to anyone here, right? Like, and with my own company, when things go bad, I can't blame that on Trump, right? It is literally, I'm the one that has to look at
Trump.
That.
I would be okay with that.
Sure. But I mean, ultimately, it is this weird thing of becoming. You have this whole new perspective when it's like, oh, whoa, you know what? Actually, I have like really shitty time management. And actually I have a hard time prioritizing or focusing. And so I think especially when your livelihood, the livelihood of many others is kind of on you realize that it absolutely takes fixing yourself before you can properly lead others, and that there's such a ripple effect and waves that happen when the leaders in an organization have problems like that. It touches everyone. And so you start to, there's just like this awareness, and I'm still working on it. I mean, I think there's a lot of things that we do really great, and there's stuff that I still suck at, I mean, and so I know that one of the things is that we love really well. Like, so we love our people, and that buys us some empathy, along the way. It buys us some goodwill. I know it's communicating intentions, and it's asking, like, give me feedback, and making it a place where they can really deliver fearless feedback to say, hey, this is really messed up, because then I have an opportunity to fix it. So I think one of the big things we do is like, let's just talk about ourselves like a family. Let's just talk about, the mess. How do we clean it up? Something's wrong with the scheduling. Okay, what kind of principles can we put in place that's going to make it better? I mean, I won't pretend to be perfect at it, but I do know that if you love the others well, and you invite them to have a seat at the table to help fix it, and they feel really safe coming to you and talking about the challenges, that's one of the best ways to fix it.
I love it. Fix work with love. That's not bad. That's pretty good. I love it.
Love is the prescription for all that's ill in the world. That's my belief.
Well, I'm so excited for all the good stuff in your life, and congratulations on your upcoming wedding. I'm super excited for you.
You'll get an invite.
I appreciate that. As someone who's been married for 15 and a half years, I can tell you the best marriage advice I've ever received. Are you ready?
Oh, please.
Don't listen to anybody's marriage advice.
That's great.
That's 100% true. Like, everybody's just projecting their own shit at you. So don't listen to anybody. Have your own experiences, and I'm sure it's going to be wonderful. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, Amanda, why don't you tell everybody where we can find you on the internet?
Yeah. So you can find me at Amanda Hite. My last name is Hite. Amanda Hite on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, all of those places. And the BTC has accounts in all those same spots at BTC Revolutions also. And then btcrevolutions.com.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Amanda Hite. And thank you all for listening today and appreciate your time on Let's Fix Work.
Thanks.
Hey, everybody. Hope you enjoyed my conversation with Amanda Hite. As you just heard, Amanda and I originally connected on the internet. And in the spirit of this episode, I'd love for you to connect with me on your favorite social media platform. Say hi and tell me how you'd like to fix work. You can find me at L. Rudiman everywhere you look. And you can also follow Let's Fix Work on Twitter and Instagram. And if you like this podcast, please subscribe, review, and share. And that's all for this week. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time on Let's Fix Work.
If you're ready to make a real change in your workplace, start today by subscribing to this podcast and help us get the word out by leaving a review.